The second target has us solving quadratic equations, which means finding out x's mystery value. And we're going to do these two problems in different ways. The left-hand problem we'll do with factoring, and the right-hand problem we'll do with the quadratic formula, because it turns out it won't be factorable. First question, it's already in standard form, and I don't see a GCF in there because our b value is 1. So I'll make the a value 10, b value -1, and c value -2. Like our factoring process from above, we do a times c, and that's equal to -20. Our job is to find two factors of -20. Two factors that both multiply to -20 and add to -1. Turns out, in this case, that'll be -5 and +4. We're going to use -5 and +4 here to build our 2 by 2 rectangle. This is how we find our GCFs, of course. I'll put in 10x squared from the original equation, minus 5x because of the split in light blue in our last step, 4x for the same reason. From the original equation, also -2 will go in that corner. So our GCFs here are 2x. They're both even, so they share a 2, and they obviously both have x. But 5 and 2 don't really have anything in common. They're both prime numbers. We'll go with -1 here since both of those numbers are negative themselves. 10 and 5 are going to share a factor of 5 and also the x that's clearly in both. 4x and -2 share 2. This time the 2 will be positive because as we look to the right, 4 is a positive number. And that means we're going to go with a positive GCF because the first number we encounter is a positive number. These are your two factors, but we're not quite done with it. I'm going to write these factors out, 2x minus 1 and 4x minus 2. But because you had this equals 0 in the equation above, got to keep that equal 0. What that means, though, is that you have two things, thing 1, thing 2, that multiply together to equal 0. And that tells us one of them has to be 0. It's got a fancy name called the zero product property, but I think that's also going to be more or less, I imagine that's probably obvious to most of my students, that if you multiply two things together and it equals 0, one of them has to equal 0. So we'll break it apart like this. 2x minus 1 equals 0. That's a little equation. We can solve that. You also have 4x minus 2 equals 0. I made a mistake. We had 2x minus 1. It was 5x plus 2. Let's go back. Came from the left side. It was supposed to be 5x plus 2. And now we're in good shape to solve the little equations. I got carried away by explaining the zero product property. 2x equals positive 1, and so x is equal to 1/2. That's one of your two options for solutions, is 1/2. And then the other solution will result from 5x plus 2 equals 0. You just subtract 2 from both sides and divide by 5. Giving us x equals -2/5. I would have also accepted decimal answers, by the way, if you had given me 0.5 and -0.4. Those are equally good solutions. They're just decimal forms of the same fractions. Now here's actually going to be the easier question on the right side. 4x squared minus 24 equals 28. Quickly just put it in standard form. One of the biggest mistakes on the test actually is that students didn't realize that they're supposed to combine like terms between the 24 and 28. They put them side to side and then got confused about what the ABC values were. In fact, we have no B value, it's 0, and a C value of 52. Now you can take my word for it, this is actually not going to factor nicely, and so we're really on the ball to use a different method. In this case, quadratic formula is going to do really nicely. C value is -52, but you don't see B at all. It's 0. All we have to do is go into Desmos with our quadratic formula that is already in here. and you want to make sure that you've written it twice, one with a plus sign in this spot and another with a minus sign in that spot. That deals with the plus or minus from the original quadratic formula. We're going to input the ABC values. A was 4, B was 0, C was negative 52, and we have answers. 3.6, or if you want to, you can go 3.606, and the negative version of it, negative 3.606. 6 because we can round up because the next digit is a 5. Negative 3.606 and positive 3.606. And those are your two answers. Hope you found it useful. Apologies for making that mistake earlier with the whole 4x minus 2 business, 5x plus 2 business.